The Arctic is one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. With temperatures that regularly dip below 40 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 40 Celsius, it can be hard to imagine anything living up there at all. Yet life not only exists in the Arctic Circle, but also thrives. And now we have reason to thank those harsh conditions. New research suggests that the Arctic Circle may actually be hiding some massive explosive potential. A new study published in the journal Quaternary Science Reviews has revealed that beneath the ice cap of the Arctic Circle could lie more than 200 previously undiscovered supervolcanoes. Now, while this doesn't mean that these volcanoes are going to erupt any day soon, if they did blow, the effects would likely be devastating both for the local environment and the rest of the world. One of the things that makes the Arctic Circle such an inhospitable place is its ice cap. This thick layer of ice can make it difficult to study what lies beneath. And even today, our knowledge of the Arctic's geology is limited. However, recent studies have shed light on the possibility that beneath this frozen surface could be hidden evidence of past volcanic eruptions. Volcanoes typically form when molten rock, ash and gases escape from a vent in the Earth's crust. And over time these eruptions can build up layers of material which eventually form a volcanic mountain. But sometimes these eruptions are so powerful that they create massive explosion. These are known as supervolcanic eruptions. And these events can release more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of material during an eruption. For context, the largest confirmed eruption in recorded human history was that of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines in 1991. During that eruption, around 5 cubic kilometers of ash and gases were released into the atmosphere. So the eruptions that created these hypothetical Arctic volcanoes must have been truly enormous. Now, while volcanoes are relatively common across the globe, supervolcanoes are much rarer. To date, only around 12 supervolcanoes have been identified worldwide. However, the researchers behind the new study suggest that the Arctic Circle could contain more than 200 of these structures. And so far, no one has ever found them because of how covered in ice they are. In order to estimate the number of volcanoes that might be lurking beneath the Arctic ice, the researchers studied sedimentary rocks collected from the seabed. By analyzing the chemical composition of these rocks, the team was able to identify areas where volcanic activity had occurred in the past. They also looked at data from the GBCO, the General Bathymetric Chart of the Oceans. By combining their analysis of the rocks with this bathymetric data, they were able to identify regions where volcanic activity had taken place. Using this information, they estimated that there could be between 186 and 247 volcanoes beneath the Arctic ice sheet. Now, it's important to note that these are just estimates. The researchers don't know exactly how many volcanoes are down there because no one has been able to visually confirm their existence, but it seems highly likely that these volcanoes do exist based on the geological evidence. It's not yet clear if all of these volcanoes are still active or dormant. More research will need to be done to understand the level of volcanic activity in the region. But the researchers did find evidence that suggested that some of these volcanoes have been active in the last few thousand years. One site, known as the Siberian Arctic Volcanic Province, contained volcanic ash that was only a few hundred years old. If that's the case, these volcanoes pose a serious threat to the surrounding environment and the rest of the world. Eruptions in this region could have significant implications for global climate change, the researchers said. The area's proximity to the North Pole means that any eruptions would release large amounts of greenhouse gases directly into the atmosphere. These gases would then spread around the planet and potentially accelerate climate change. To make matters worse, these volcanoes are thought to contain high levels of mercury. In fact, the researchers suggest that they could be the largest mercury reservoir on Earth. Mercury is a toxic substance that can have serious impacts on human health. If released in large quantities, it could pose a serious risk to wildlife and humans alike. Now, this isn't the first time scientists have considered the possibility of Arctic volcanoes. Back in 2017, another group of researchers proposed that a series of underwater explosions in the Laptov Sea could have been caused by the collapse of a subglacial volcano. That event released a massive amount of methane into the atmosphere. Methane is a potent greenhouse gas that is more than 20 times more effective at trapping heat as carbon dioxide. The researchers behind that study suggested that this event could have contributed to the current state of rapid Arctic warming. These findings highlight just how little we understand about the Arctic Circle. Despite its importance in our planet's climate system, the Arctic remains largely unexplored. As the Arctic continues to warm, the risk of volcanic activity will only grow. As the ice melts away, new land will be exposed, bringing with it the potential for volcanic eruptions. And if that happens, the consequences could be devastating. We could see the release of massive amounts of greenhouse gases and toxic substances into the atmosphere. For instance, in 2021, the Siberian Arctic Volcanic Province experienced increased seismic activity. While this didn't necessarily mean that an eruption was imminent, it did highlight the potential dangers that lie beneath the ice. At the time, scientists warned that a supervolcanic eruption in this region could have global consequences. They called for further monitoring of the area to better understand the risk of future eruptions. Now, this new study adds to those warnings and highlights the need for further investigation. To better understand the risks posed by these volcanoes, we need to explore the Arctic Circle more thoroughly. This includes conducting more seismic surveys, drilling into the ice cap to collect samples, and using remote sensing technologies to monitor changes over time. By doing so, we can gain a better understanding of the potential threat posed by these volcanoes and take the necessary steps to mitigate any risks. That's because, while we may not be able to prevent volcanic eruptions, we can take steps to minimize their impact. For example, by monitoring volcanic activity, we can issue timely warnings to local populations, allowing them to evacuate before an eruption occurs. Additionally, we can develop early warning systems that can automatically detect eruptions and alert authorities. This can help reduce the damage caused by volcanic ash and other debris. Volcanic eruptions can also have significant impacts on the economy, particularly for communities that rely on tourism or agriculture. By understanding the potential impacts of an eruption, we can develop strategies to minimize the economic disruption. This can include providing financial assistance to affected businesses or developing plans to restore damaged infrastructure. Finally, we can also take steps to protect the environment from the impacts of volcanic eruptions. This can involve monitoring air and water quality to detect any signs of contamination and developing plans to clean up any debris. By taking these steps, we can help ensure that the natural environment is protected from the devastating effects of volcanic eruptions. Ultimately, the discovery of these volcanoes highlights the need for continued exploration and research in the Arctic Circle. By exploring this region, we can gain a better understanding of the potential risks and threats that lie beneath the ice. And by doing so, we can better protect ourselves and the environment from the potential impacts of volcanic eruptions. Now, while it's easy to get overwhelmed by the potential dangers of these volcanoes, it's also important to remember the beauty and wonder of the Arctic Circle. From the stunning northern lights to the incredible wildlife, the Arctic is a truly remarkable place. It's home to a variety of unique species, including polar bears, walruses, and seals. The region is also home to a variety of indigenous cultures that have adapted to the harsh conditions. Exploring the Arctic Circle can provide us with a wealth of knowledge and understanding of our planet and its history. By studying the region, we can learn more about the formation of the Earth's crust and the history of volcanic activity. We can also gain a better understanding of the impact of climate change on the environment and the effects of volcanic eruptions on the atmosphere. Overall, the discovery of these volcanoes serves as a reminder of the power and beauty of the natural world. While there are potential risks and threats associated with volcanic activity in the Arctic Circle, there is also great potential for discovery and exploration. By continuing to study and explore this region, we can gain a better understanding of our planet and the forces that shape it. And who knows what other wonders we may uncover along the way. So while it's important to be aware of the potential dangers of these volcanoes, it's also important to appreciate the beauty and wonder of the Arctic Circle and the potential for discovery and exploration that it offers. Thanks for watching this episode. If you liked it, make sure to check out more content and leave your suggestions for topics that we should cover in the future.